I'm getting better, trying out new things, trying to get some rhythm with this team. And then naturally, I mean, I just play the game. You know, I just try to read everything going on. Try to make the right plays down the floor. Yeah, I'm still fast. I can still jump high. I'm still strong. So yeah, without the athleticism, but you know, at the end of the day, I got it back. So.
The NBA adventures of Ben Simmons have been well documented at this point. The top pick from the 2016 NBA draft was once viewed as a potential future MVP. He went on to become an all-star, all-defense, and all-NBA player with the Philadelphia 76ers. However, injuries, an ugly divorce from the 76ers, and declining play lowered his standing across the league. Brooklyn acquired Ben Simmons with the hopes that he could rekindle some of his early career magic to pair with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. But now, Ben Simmons is on a very different team after the Nets traded away their 2 stars last season. He's shown flashes of his old self and gave people a reason to be optimistic during the season's opening weeks, but recent injury updates have dampened the confidence, which threatens Brooklyn's season and their desperate path out of mediocrity. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. Now that we get all that out of the way, cue the intro. I haven't proved myself to you at this point, then check this out. On Thursday Night Football, these are all the people that made money by following my prize picks for free on Instagram. I give out my picks for free each and every night, and if you end up tailing me and hit green, I shout you out like this. Right now, when you use my promo code microphone, you could double your deposit up until $100 on prize picks. And thank you, prize picks, for the sponsor. Mike check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? As we discussed in a video less than 2 months ago, Ben Simmons showed real promise in the preseason. This was coming off of an offseason that Simmons had dedicated to getting his body and mental health back on track. The handling of both were subjects of his friction with the Philadelphia 76ers and his final hurdles to getting back on the court with Brooklyn. Although the games didn't count, Ben Simmons needed these tune-up games to prove to himself and his team that he can still be effective on the court. Even just playing in those preseason games alone was a huge step for him. This is a guy who missed the entire 2021 to 2022 season and only played in 42 games last season. For the first time in what seemed like forever, Ben Simmons entered the season with some positive momentum. He rolled that over to the start of the season, which went pretty well for Simmons on the court. He appeared in 6 of the Nets' first 7 games and played to his strengths. Simmons had at least 9 rebounds in every game he played, while also putting up good assist numbers. Meanwhile, his scoring stayed down. Ben Simmons' jump shot, or lack thereof, was a common critique of him throughout his career to the point where it affected his play. Hell, even the late great Kobe Bryant warned Ben Simmons that if he didn't get a jump shot, he'll regret it for the rest of his career.
Well, he's got to get a jump shot. You know, it's like, it sounds humorous and all that, but I'm dead serious. You can't, like, you know, because if not, he'll regret it. When his career is over.
So as a result, Ben Simmons simply stopped shooting shots that he struggles to make. His shot attempts plummeted after he debuted with Brooklyn last season, and he kept that up to start this season. Simmons only took 36 shots in 6 games, but he made 19, which was just over half. 30 of those attempts were within 5 feet of the basket, and he only made 1 of 6 shots beyond that range. He's only 1 for 4 from the free throw line this season and hasn't attempted a 3. This lack of attempts beyond 5 feet could be interpreted as Ben being the same guy that passed up the open layup against the Hawks. On the other hand, it could also show a player who's becoming comfortable in who he really is. Simmons spoke about this on Media Day.
I think I'm just being very consistent with the things that work for me, and that's huge. I think, you know, some people may do it for a little bit and they see a little improvement and then they stop doing it, but I think just being consistent with whatever works for you is very important.
Now at this point, you have to understand how much Ben Simmons has overcome. After the Brooklyn Nets acquired Dorian Finney-Smith, Cameron Johnson, and Mikal Bridges last year during the trade deadline, Ben Simmons was essentially buried on the bench so badly that Jacques Vaughn essentially said that it looked like there was no possibility of integrating him into the rotation.
It's going to be some work that we have to do. because you just take a look at what the lineups could potentially look like. Put another big next to Ben, then you got to figure out what the spacing is around it. Then if you put a playmaker next to him, then you got to figure out what Ben looks like without the basketball. Then if you go small with Ben, then you got to figure out, can you rebound enough with Bo? The challenges are ahead of us. We'll look them head on. We'll figure it out. We have the personnel to figure it out. Whether it is me mixing and matching throughout different pieces of the game and allowing him to have a group and run with a group, that part we'll figure out. But you see the challenges that lie ahead.
Even Ben Simmons' teammates endorsed him and said that they believed in him, like Mikal Bridges in the offseason here.
This is my guy. I got big confidence. I got big faith in him more this year. His back was messed up now. Got surgery. He's getting back. But he loved the game, bro. I think he's in a good place. All of us, we're close. He's the one talking in the chat all the time, and we all with him. And obviously, we want him to score and stuff, but we ain't pressed about it. You just want to be him, be aggressive.
How do you find ways you can be a support system for him?
Just be there with him, man. Support him. Even if you struggle, whatever, that's cool. Wherever city we go hang out, go get dinner, whatever, get ready for the next one. I think that's the biggest thing, is just he could be confident enough to fail and know, we're there for him. You don't want nobody you feel that pressure every single time, if I don't play well, these guys might not like me. Nah, for me, that's not the case. I'll just try to be there. I'm listen, bro, you struggle. We're here for you. We want to be there through the process. If you shoot 5 middies in a row, you miss all 5, shoot the 6th one. You know what I'm saying?
Even Kyrie Irving came to Ben Simmons' defense before he would get traded.
To be critical over what Ben's done right or done wrong every single night. He's a basketball player. He's a professional. He has the skills to be a great professional. He's done it in the past, and he hasn't played in 2 years. So you guys keep coming in here asking me, what about Ben? What about Ben? And it's just, he hasn't played in 2 years. Give him a chance. You know what I mean? We stay on his stay on. I wish I could say other words because I'm from Jersey, but we stay on him.
With a healthy body in mind, Ben Simmons embraced his role as a rebounder and distributor, helping coax big scoring nights out of Brooklyn's various scorers. And this actually worked. There are currently 7 Brooklyn Nets players averaging double digits in scoring, including Cam Thomas and Mikal Bridges, who score over 20 points per night. The Nets don't need him to be a scorer next to this many capable offensive threats, unlike in Philadelphia, where the 76ers needed an outside scorer to pair with Joel Embiid. If you pair Brooklyn's needs with what Simmons does best, and take away the distractions that come with playing next to 2 pairs of superstars, then you've got a potential recipe for success. Ben Simmons still can't shoot, but it's hard not to look at the start of the season and not label it as success. The only way non-shooters can stay on the court in today's NBA is if they're elite in other areas. And at the time that we're making this video, Ben Simmons currently leads the team in rebounds and assists while posting a good defensive box plus minus. He's not the same aggressive driver or interior shooter he was coming into this league, but he made an impact. That is, until he got hurt again. The last game Ben Simmons played in was on November 6th in the team's narrow loss to the Milwaukee Bucks. In this game, Ben Simmons only scored 2 points but had a game-high 15 rebounds as Brooklyn lost by 4 at home. After that, the Brooklyn Nets began listing Simmons as day-to-day with hip soreness. Now, in the past, I will admit, I was a little skeptical about Ben Simmons' injury. He's always had this lingering back issue, and I thought it was just oddly coincidental that Jacques Vaughn decided to bench Ben Simmons because of an injury he sustained the moment that the Brooklyn Nets acquired 3 new forwards that would be seamlessly integrated into the offense significantly better than Ben Simmons ever could. But if you take a look at this appears to be the play where Ben Simmons injured his hip. Shortly before he missed his 4th game in a row, Brooklyn announced that Simmons had a nerve impingement in his back, which would continue to sideline him, as coach Jacques Vaughn explained.
It was day to day, he was improving, and got to a point where obviously he wasn't playing, so we wanted to be extremely thorough. Had an MRI yesterday, which was read today, which showed left side impingement, and we'll look at him a week from now.
About a week later, the Nets revealed that Simmons would be out another week with the same injury. Shortly before Saturday's win over Orlando, Brooklyn announced that Simmons got an epidural injection in his back to help his recovery. Vaughn's announcement also gave another timetable on when to expect the next update.
So the epidural happened within the course of this week here. It was just a part of his getting back to playing. And that is a part of his treatment, a part of his strengthening. That was just a part of his getting back to a position of joining us. No setbacks. Right now, he is still doing low-level stuff on the court. So no rebounding drills, no sprinting up the floor. And then in two weeks, you'll continue to strengthen it, and we'll have something hopefully for you then.
Simmons will have missed over a month by the time that Brooklyn provides another update. They're already well aware of the back issues that forced him to shut down for the season earlier this year. So the update doesn't exactly sound like he'll be playing in 2 weeks, just that we should expect an update. It was already an uphill climb for Simmons to rehab his value to the league, and this injury unfortunately only makes it harder. And it's not because of his play. Back in 2019, when Ben Simmons' rookie contract expired, the Philadelphia 76ers gave Simmons a 5-year maximum contract extension worth about $170 million just based upon what they thought his potential could be. Fast forward to this season, and Ben Simmons is already in the 4th year of that contract, paying him nearly $38 million, which makes him the 20th highest salary in the NBA. Next season, which is the last year of his deal, is on the books for over $40 million. His chances of living up to his contract are essentially zero at this point, and it feels like a sunk cost. At the time that he got the extension, Ben Simmons was notorious for having tremendous upside, but he stagnated each and every single year until he got that contract extension, until it seemed like he hit rock bottom. So this essentially feels like a sunk cost. However, it would have benefited both Simmons and Brooklyn tremendously if he was at least on the court consistently. After resetting the franchise with the Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant trades, it feels like the Nets are in no man's land. They're not among the league's true title contenders, but they're also far above the lottery-bound bottom feeders. They're in the dreaded purgatory of the NBA, which is the last place that you want to be. And the worst part is that Ben Simmons hasn't altered that trajectory very much at all, even though he's being paid like a guy who could. The Nets are 3-3 with him and 8-6 without him. Mikal Bridges entered the season with all-star expectations as Brooklyn's best player. He may get his first all-star nod this season, but championship expectations won't be attached to any team where he's the best player. Being mediocre is the worst place to be in the NBA, and that's exactly where the Nets are right now. Getting Bridges and the other quality players they got from the Irving and Durant deals prevented Brooklyn from completely blowing it up. However, the albatross that is Ben Simmons' contract also poses another obstacle to a full-on rebuild. It's tough to start over when one guy is still taking up nearly 20% of the team's cap space next season. The good news for the Nets is that it could be worse. Just look at Jordan Poole, who we just made a video about. Washington inherited his massive contract extension, and while his annual salary will be much lower than Ben Simmons, he still has 3 more years left after this season. Simmons only has 1 more year under contract after this season, so it's not like Brooklyn will be stuck overpaying him for years to come. As a matter of fact, it could be used as a very valuable trade chip come next year for the trade deadline, in which I'm pretty confident that at that point, the Brooklyn Nets will just dangle Ben Simmons' expiring contract and take on terrible contracts in return for his contract just so they can load up on assets, which is what every rebuilding team typically does. However, Ben Simmons' massive salary still makes it much more difficult to do more than just stay in the middle. We're about to enter the unofficial start of trade season on December 15th, once players who signed contracts this offseason become eligible to be traded. The Nets could get back real assets for just about anyone in their rotation. If they really wanted to put Bridges on the market, he would instantly become one of the best players on the trade block. But the Nets are trying to win this season simply because they have to. The Brooklyn Nets don't have their own first-round pick this season after trading it to Houston when they acquired James Harden. GM Sean Marks is on the hot seat after missing on his big superstar swings, and they're also not as relevant as their crosstown rival New York Knicks. They're unlikely to surpass them in New York or in the standings by hovering around 500. Simmons could have helped at least prove that he can contribute to a good, not great team to maybe get dealt this year or this offseason once he becomes a large expiring contract. Of course, it's hard to evaluate that when you've only got a 6-game sample size. There's still hope that Ben Simmons could return by the end of the new year and become a piece that Brooklyn wants to keep. He's extension eligible after the season, and it'll be interesting to see how each side approaches offseason negotiations. But then again, the injury makes it hard to assess his value with a small sample size. His massive salary and unique strengths makes him an unappealing trade target for many teams. So in the meantime, the Nets will be holding on to an overpaid player who's losing trade value with every missed game. Unfortunately, after a promising start, it looks like Ben Simmons could be hurting the Brooklyn Nets once again in the long run. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section down below. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.